everyone, it's Nick and Ron with another edition of Ask Ron. This time we're doing it remotely. I'm at home, Ron's at home. How you doing, Ron?
I am claustrophobic, ready to get out of here, about to go nuts and working harder than I ever worked when I actually had a job. But other than that, fine.
Yeah, I look forward to us opening back up. Governor just said that we should be starting to open up slowly, on the 4th now?
Yeah.
Yep. All right, well, I look forward to it. I'm getting cooped up in here. I'm sitting in my kitchen right now trying to do this because my wife works from home and she's in the home office. So,
well, at least I got a home office to myself.
Yeah. All right, well, our first question is from Scott in Detroit. Ron, you mentioned in a training video that landlord insurance can only be applied by the owner of the property and defined as whomever holds the deed. Would I be able to classify legally as owner for landlord insurance when I purchase with contract for deed and where the deed has not transferred yet?
Yes, you will, except I think it's a land contract in Michigan. But if you are the one making the payments to the seller, you are the only one that can insure the property. And you will insure it as a non-owner occupied policy.
Okay. Next question is from Holly Peterson, has 2 questions. She's from Oregon.
Okay.
1, what are the best ways to work with a realtor?
The only way that I work with a realtor is when I'm making offers on properties that are in the MLS with the intent to pay cash for them. Now, every once in a while, if we get a higher priced property, we'll put it in the MLS, even on terms. And we've sold several properties that way, but I pay the realtor by giving them 25% of the down payment they bring to the table, minus any down payment I had to pay to get the property. So in the pretty house business, we use them very, very rarely. In the ugly house business, we use them quite a bit because that's the only way you're going to be able to buy properties out of the MLS. And even on the boot camp, the realtor finds several properties before we arrive and goes with us on the bus out to look at the houses. So they play a big part in that portion of the boot camp.
Okay. So her second question, Holly's second question is, I own a rental free and clear and would like to sell it to a tenant buyer. I've only done this once. Does Ron have any strategies from the owner standpoint?
Oh, you'd have to clarify that a little more. You tell me whether you're going to sell it with terms or whether you're going to sell it all cash, sell it yourself or list it or whatever. So if you're going to cash out of it, as me, I'd just list it and let them do all the work. Worth it to me. If you're going to sell it with owner financing, you probably want to do a lease purchase, just like I teach. You maintain control that way and you maintain the asset. That's the part I like about it. You don't give up the depreciation or the appreciation. You get every month that goes by, your spread gets bigger. And in other words, the longer you own the property, the more money you're going to make if you lease option it out. But the minute you sell it, all over and the golden goose is dead. And by the way, Holly, you're from Oregon. It just so happens I'm sitting here right now working on a piece of land in Oregon, in Veneta, Oregon, if you know where that's at. We just got the offer accepted by a realtor, and I'm just sitting here looking through it, and I'm going to call him in a minute on a 38-acre parcel there. So I don't know how that relates to you, but you brought it up, Oregon. All right.
She did say she was trying to sell it to a tenant buyer, so I assume that talking about lease option. So
yeah, I do a lease purchase.
Okay. Next question is from Edgar in Florida. 2 questions. Number 1 is, you say that you don't like to use subject to, but you prefer doing a wraparound mortgage. Even if you do a wraparound mortgage, you're still buying it subject to, aren't you?
No. Subject to means the seller is just deeding you the property and walking away. There's no note or mortgage going back to the seller. They have no way to get the property back if you don't pay. They have no evidence that there's any income coming in to wash out their debt. So if they want to apply for another loan, they're probably going to have a debt ratio problem. Whereas on a wraparound mortgage, there is a note and mortgage created to the seller by your attorney, even if it's for the same amount they owe the bank. Now, if you don't pay, the seller can foreclose. and they can prove income coming in to wash out the debt. They want to qualify for another loan. There's two big differences. Problem with subject to is the seller really doesn't know what they're doing clearly until later when they find out that they're not going to qualify, and they have no repercussions whatsoever if you don't pay. Subject to is big out there right now. I've done a lot of them, but I just don't like it, strictly from the seller's point of view. So a wraparound mortgage, they still have some rights. You still make the same amount of money. It doesn't cost you any more. Do it on a wrap.
Okay. Next question. You always say we should not guarantee debt. Isn't a wraparound mortgage a commitment to pay a debt? Uh-oh, did I lose you, Ron? It's like he froze up on us. All right, Ron, looks like we got you back. I guess your internet cut out. You logged back in on your iPad?
I did. I love this technology. My laptop just went no internet. So I got internet on my iPad.
Well, that works. All right. I think we got the end of the last answer. So her second question there is you always say we should not guarantee debt. Isn't a wraparound mortgage a commitment to pay a debt?
No, because your grantor revocable trust or land trust owns the property. The trustee will sign as trustee on the note. Therefore, the trust is guaranteeing the note. You're not, ever, under any circumstances. So the trust is guaranteeing the note. So the only collateral is the house that's in the trust, which is the house that you bought from the seller.
Okay. Next question is from Richard in Utah.
Sure.
Attorneys state the seller must notify their bank or lending institution of such a transaction on their loan. I believe you teach this as highly discouraged as it would likely trigger the due on sale clause, or at least cause suspicion or an investigation by the bank, and therefore you state this should never be done. Please explain.
Well, first of all, I have no reason to do it. I don't owe the bank anything. There's no law says I have to notify the bank because I bought somebody's house. The only right the bank has is to call the loan due if they choose to. I think I've had them do that one time in my whole life, and then they backed off after I made it clear I wasn't going to come down and assume the loan. Because especially today when banks, I mean, for a bank to call a loan due just because it transferred would be, in my opinion, very rare, because that's the last thing a bank wants is another house. That's a big problem for them, especially when somebody's making the payments on it. And we could go on and on about this, but I hear there's state law that says they can't do it in many states as long as they're not in any harm's way. And of course, assuming somebody's making the payments and the house is kept up. But regardless of all of that, if the bank calls the loan due, it's not in my name. And that's why we have a CYA letter that the seller signs that's saying if they did, you're not personally responsible for that debt. Now, sending them notice that we've sold the property is certainly rubbing it in their face and asking for a problem. And there, again, I know of no law that says I have to do that or that the seller has to do that. We don't need their permission for the seller to sell the house to me.
Okay, so Richard is saying that the attorneys are telling the sellers they must notify their bank. So what would you recommend to him to get another attorney?
Richard, here's what you do. Ask your attorney to refer you to the statute that says that.
Okay.
And I'll bet you he can't.
Right.
And by the way,
Right.
send it to me if you find said statute. What state are we in, Nick?
That was Utah, I think. Yeah, Utah.
If there is such a statute, then you'll have to comply with it. But if there is, I'd be shocked. On the other hand, I've been shocked before. So if your attorney can't give you the statute that cites that, there is no such rule. He's just making it up or heard it from somebody else.
If there is a statute, it would be in Utah because that state has some crazy laws that I've seen.
Yeah, well, I could say that about most any state.
Right, right. All right, next question is from Mike in Virginia. Are tax assessed values a good way to determine ARV?
Absolutely not. That's probably the worst way you can determine ARV. Tax assessed values have nothing to do with the market value of a property. They're not even appraised like an appraiser would appraise them. And that's assuming that even anybody's even looked at it in years. They're appraised from downtown. even when they drive by every now and then and do a reassessment, what are they going to see? The house is still sitting there. They're looking for anything they can see that makes it worth more. Tax assessed value are almost always wrong. I mean, really wrong. I mean, the house I'm living in is assessed for about half of its value or less. Don't tell the city. So you cannot, worst place to look is tax assessed value. Now, there's a trap every once in a while. The tax assessed value is near the market value, but trust me, it was a fluke. It is almost never the case. The market value is almost always larger and sometimes much larger than the tax assessed value. So, however, it's a plus when the seller decides to use the assessed value as the value of the house.
All right, next question is from Steve in Kansas. Can you use your self-directed IRA to pay for the master's program or any of our other training?
The answer is yes and no. Okay, you can't, your IRA cannot write Global a direct check to buy training. That's not an approved investment from the IRS point of view. But there's no one stopping you from taking money out of your IRA and doing whatever the heck you want to do with it. So if you take money out of your IRA, you can write a check for the master's program. Now, if you are over 59 and a half, then you won't be taxed on it anyway. But if you're under 59 and a half, you'll get taxed on that distribution to you. But then again, you get to write off the master's program. So it's a wash. And that's assuming that you're not taking money out of your contributions, because you can take your contributions back anytime you want without getting taxed. This is something that you can easily check out with your third-party administrator, whoever that is, and they'll tell you the same thing. You can do whatever you want with your money.
Last question is from Randy in Massachusetts.
Andy?
I'm just wondering, why is the lease and the option agreement on one form as opposed to having 3 separate contracts? Purchase and sale agreement, lease agreement, and an option agreement, as I know someone who does this with 3 different contracts.
We do too. I don't really know what you're looking at, but we have a purchase and sale agreement that has nothing to do with how we're selling it, unless we're selling it, actually selling it. And then we have a lease agreement and we have an option agreement. They are not the same contract. You might be confusing the selling lease agreement with the buying lease agreement. With the buying lease agreement, they are all in one contract, but with the selling agreement, they are not. In case I have to evict someone, I'm not going to send the option to the court. I'm not required to. Now, that doesn't mean they can't send it there, because if I send the option to the court, then that gives the judge something to look at. And he may determine that they have some equitable interest in the property or something like that. And he may force me to go into foreclosure instead of eviction, especially if they put up a substantial amount of money. But it's up to them to send that option. I'm not going to do it. In other words, I'm not going to make anybody's case for them. And that's been the rule, gosh, since I've been in this business. I'm in my 38th year now. We've always done it that way. That it?
That's all the questions.
Okay. Wow. All right. Well, you guys are getting this in time to register for our Summit version 2 this coming week. Nick, tell them where to go to register. They haven't already.
That would be right on legrand.com. There's a link right on the homepage there. And we'll also post one right under this video that you click on.
All right. So it's going to be an exciting 3 days. And here's the most exciting part. It's absolutely free. So, and it's totally different than the one we just did a few weeks ago. I have a few new speakers coming in, and I got some stuff that I'm going to plug in there as well. Plus, we're still going to be structuring your deals. So get your deals in here and we'll call them. Last time we did so many of them, we didn't have time to go over them in our deal structuring sessions. And literally we had to schedule another day to get through the rest of them. So maybe this time we'll get you a deal if you send in a lead. Nick, I assume the instructions are on there when they register to send in leads?
Actually, that has already expired. We've got
all right
on the 29th.
You don't get in on this one, you get in on the next one, but you always want to send in leads anytime we're calling sellers for you, because we generate a lot. We did 15 deals in the last summit that I discussed over 3 one-hour sessions. And then we had something like 7 or 8 or 9 left after that, didn't we? That we did a few days later. So
Yeah.
All of our mentors call these things for you. That's a rare opportunity. These people are actually doing the business day in and day out, are calling your leads for you, trying to make you money. So if you didn't get in this window, there'll be another one. And I want you all to know that we're going to be doing a live boot camp at the end of June in Orlando. We swapped Orlando with New Jersey because New Jersey bothers me. I don't think we're going to be able to put people in a room by the end of June up there. So we just swapped Orlando June, and New Jersey will be July. So I'm looking forward to get back into a room full of people and not just watching a screen, because attending live, oh boy, it's 10 times better than doing anything on the screen. So many big benefits out of it, and including the bus trip, but even way beyond that. So if you're headed to a boot camp, I want you to know we're doing one live, period. If I have to do it in my home, we're doing one, period, at the end of June. What is that date? 22, 3, 4, something like that. It's on our.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Last I saw, Ron, I think we had 252 leads submitted for the summit coming up that the mentors are calling that you guys did.
Oh my gosh. Okay. They got their work cut out for them. By the way, we got a boot camp at the end of June too now. And we're doing 1 week, and the other one we're doing a quick start. So we're doing that one live as well. There is no virtual commercial boot camp. It's all going to be live. And if I were you, I'd get there so we can get deals like this one that came from a deal in Oregon. I've been sitting here looking at it. This is a $1 million purchase price, and I got them to accept terms with $100,000 down. And I can assure you, it ain't my student that's putting up that 100 grand, and a 2-year balloon on the balance with no interest. And the goal is to take these 103 lots and get them finished and titled by the city and get them sold. Conservatively, that comes out to about 2.8 million, hopefully in value there. So we still got to go through all the due diligence, but just send the contract back today. Actually, it's the last thing I did before we got on here. So these deals are real, and I got a whole stack of them here that students are sending, and it all starts with that commercial boot camp, because I will not partner with anybody that hadn't been through that. In full disclosure, though, Nick, just going to boot camp does not get you the right to partner with me. I'll tell you all about that there, but I got some students who are going to do very well out of this. All right, is there anything else we should mention before we get off of this?
Yeah, actually, one thing I almost forgot is that this particular Gold Club Weekly is our 500th issue.
Wow!
And we're holding a big contest for that.
Oh my God, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Yep,
so what's the contest going, don't we? Tell them about it.
We do. We're giving away five people 250 points, and it's actually in the weekly report. If you won, then your name is on that list. So if you just call that number there. Don't call our main office. We have a number just for that. So call the number that's on there and call to claim your points. You have until you got 1 week, you got 7 days to call in and claim those points. So
if they're watching this video, they just got to scroll down and find out they won, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So all 5 of them are going to win 250 points.
Yep.
I thought one of them was going to win a new car or something like that. I must have read that wrong. Huh?
I don't know. Maybe if that's what it says, then that's what you get. But I don't remember that part.
Yeah, look real hard, see if you can find that on there. Guys, we appreciate you. We appreciate you as Gold Club members. Some of you have been Gold Club members for a long time, and I know this is a best bargain in real estate, this Gold Club thing. So take advantage of it, because Nick spent his whole life managing and building this thing. He's the one that created this entire website. And I understand we got a new one in the works here. Someday we're going to release, right, Nick? New site?
Yep. We planned on releasing it pretty soon, but with all of this going on, we had to shift our focus a little bit. But the new one, I'm excited about it. But Ron likes to give me credit, but we got a whole team that does all of this, and I built it originally back in 2010, but everyone else has contributed and made it what it is today. So.
By the way, guys, if you think you can't do business out there because of this COVID thing, you're dead wrong. In fact, I'm going to tell you what I'm hearing and what I'm experiencing myself is it is easier right now. It is easier. People are answering the phone. They're home. They got no place to go. and they're just more mentally motivated right now than they were just a few weeks ago. You know, people are finding out, gosh, it can get worse. Gosh, this free ride I'm on, this glorious times we're in could actually end. And, you know, it changes their thinking. So it's a good time for you to jump in and buy houses because some people think it's dead. It's not dead. Realtors are telling me the same thing. They're showing and selling houses on a regular basis. So this is not going to stop our business. Incidentally, I haven't talked to a single seller yet that is afraid for me to come into their house and visit. I ask them, is it okay if I come or do you want to do a video? Come on. They don't care. So I think you're going to see this business even get easier as we go forward, and we will. Like we said, it's starting back up here in Florida next Monday, you know, gradually, but because I'm looking forward to Monday because that's the first day in all this time I can actually go into a restaurant and get some food. So that's what I think about all the time. Where's that number coming from? All right,
make that reservation now because you know they're going to be packed. They can only allow what, 25%? So
in here in Florida, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All I got, Ron.
Okay. Well, all right. We'll see you guys next week, and take advantage of the times we're in because wealthy people run toward calamity. They don't run away from it. So become one of those. Come see the old guy here. I'm not going to be doing this forever. You see that gray hair up there? Okay. You better take advantage of it because, you know, only so much in this head I can get out. All right. I'll see you next week.
Looks like you're due for a haircut, Ron. Me too. I'm getting kind of
haircut. Yeah.
all right. Have a good one.
See you guys.